I carried a secret to my sister's engagement dinner, though I never intended for it to become a weapon. The private dining room at the Birchwood was warm and crowded, filled with 23 guests, white tablecloths, and the heavy smell of roasted garlic. My mother, Diane, sat near the head of the table in a brand new plum dress, doing what she had done for the last decade. She was introducing the family to our host, Catherine Ellsworth, a prominent real estate mogul whose son was marrying my sister. When my turn came, my mother offered a practiced, neighborhood smile, gestured to my navy blouse, and said, "This is our other daughter, Julia. She cleans houses for a living." My father, Gerald, didn't miss a beat, adding, "We've given up on her." The table went completely still. Across the white linen, Catherine Ellsworth set down her fork, looked me dead in the eye, and asked, "Wait, you're that Julia?" My mother lost all her color in a fraction of a second, completely unaware that 18 months prior, I had signed a multi-million-dollar commercial contract directly with Catherine's corporate board. What happened over the next 40 minutes shattered a dynamic my parents had cultivated for 10 years. But to understand why that single sentence destroyed my family's reality, you have to understand the night they decided I wasn't worth their investment. I grew up in Carver, Indiana, a small town of 9,000 people where status was measured by your job title and your family's living room wall. My dad had worked the exact same claims desk at an insurance firm for 30 years, while my mom gave up her accounting career the moment she got pregnant with me. She never quite forgave us for that sacrifice, and she funneled all her unfulfilled ambition directly into my younger sister, Paige. Our living room wall was a physical timeline of Paige's achievements, filled with diplomas, Employee of the Month plaques, and executive sorority photos. My own side of the frame stopped abruptly at my college graduation photo, representing the last thing I ever did that made any sense to them. The rift began the summer I turned 22. I had earned a degree in business administration and brought home a detailed, 60-page business proposal for a commercial sanitation firm. My mother had already secretly paid a deposit for my master's degree at the state university and printed the program catalog as if my future was already decided. When I sat my parents down at the kitchen table and explained that I was turning down graduate school to launch my own commercial cleaning company, my mother stared at me for 14 agonizing seconds. She didn't open my proposal, she simply asked if scrubbing toilets was really my ultimate ambition in life. My father walked in from the garage, snapped that he had already bragged to his coworkers about my master's program, and walked out. Only one person in my family believed in what I was building. My grandmother, Ruth, sat on her front porch, read every single page of my financial projections, and asked where I planned to expand by year 3. She pulled $800 from her personal savings account, wrapped it in a hand-embroidered cotton handkerchief monogrammed with her initials, and pressed it into my palm. She told me to keep the handkerchief for the hard days that were bound to come. That very night, my mother informed me that if I chose to scrub floors for a living, I would do it without a single cent of her support. I folded my binder, packed my old sedan, and drove straight to Indianapolis without looking back. My first studio apartment cost less than $500 a month and featured a radiator that clanked continuously through the night. I bought an old white cargo van with no logo, surviving on 3 hours of sleep while cleaning a small dental clinic at 5 in the morning before spending my afternoons knocking on corporate doors. By the end of my first year, I had pulled in $62,000 in revenue, managed $11,000 in net profit, and hired my first full-time employee, Maria. Every single Sunday, I called Grandma Ruth to report my growth, while my bi-weekly calls home to my mother always ended with her asking if I was ready to give up and come home yet. By my third year in business, everything changed when I secured a $340,000 annual contract with a 12-story corporate building. I was 25 years old, managing 38 employees, and crossing 7 figures in revenue. Excitedly, I called my mother to share the milestone, but she simply paused and asked how many people I was sending to mop floors now. Before I could process the sting of her words, my dad took the phone to announce that my sister had just been accepted into a middle management leadership program. That was the exact moment I stopped volunteering information about my business, realizing they had already decided what I was and no new facts would ever update their mental file. Over the next 7 years, my parents believed exactly what they wanted to believe, while I quietly built an empire. Holloway Commercial Services expanded across 14 states, employing nearly 300 people with an annual revenue pushing $18 million. I owned a downtown condo paid for in cash, managed top-tier contracts for hospitals and universities, and maintained an industry-leading employee retention rate. I didn't hide my success, but because my parents never bothered to search my name or ask genuine questions, they remained completely oblivious. Then, out of nowhere, Paige called me to announce her engagement to Garrett Ellsworth, adding that our grandmother had specifically requested my presence at the family dinner. I knew the Ellsworth name the second she said it, considering my company had secured a $3.8 million contract with Ellsworth Property Group 18 months earlier. The deal covered 47 major commercial buildings and had been personally signed by Garrett's mother, Catherine Ellsworth, who chaired their board of directors. Standing in my office the day before the dinner, I looked at a bottle of homemade lemon vinegar cleaner on my desk, remembering the grueling 5 a.m. shifts and the endless sacrifices that brought me to this point. I put on a simple navy blouse, drove 3 hours across the flat Indiana highway, and resolved to attend the event solely for the 80-year-old woman who had believed in me from day one. When I arrived at the Birchwood, the private dining room was filled with warm lighting and high society energy. My mother immediately intercepted me at the entrance, scanning my simple flats and unadorned blouse with a look of subtle disappointment before introducing my sister to the crowd. As we took our seats, my mother systematically worked the room, introducing every family member with a glowing title while completely skipping over my chair as if I were invisible. Robert Ellsworth, Garrett's father, eventually noticed the omission and kindly asked me what I did for a living. Before I could speak, my mother interjected that I did basic residential cleaning work, while my father snickered and added that they had given up on my career long ago. It was right at that moment that Catherine Ellsworth walked into the dining room, apologizing for the highway traffic. She moved through the room with commanding authority, but the moment her eyes landed on me, she froze in total recognition. She recognized my face, my name, and the specific navy blue color of my blouse from the high-stakes board meeting where I had presented my company's operations. Catherine walked straight past my mother, reached out to take my hand with genuine warmth, and expressed how truly wonderful it was to see me again. My mother's smile faltered, confused by why a multimillionaire real estate tycoon was greeting her floor-scrubbing daughter with such profound respect. As the main course was served, my mother tried to regain control of the conversation by boasting about Paige's recent corporate promotion. She couldn't help but drop another passive-aggressive comment about my cleaning work, framing it as a tragic lack of ambition that they had simply learned to accept. Catherine set her wine glass down with a heavy clink, looked directly at my mother, and asked why she was describing the chief executive officer of a regional commercial enterprise as if she were a casual housekeeper. Catherine informed the entire table that my company managed 47 of their largest commercial properties, praising my operational excellence, my $18 million valuation, and the hundreds of workers I employed. The silence that followed was so absolute you could hear the soft humming of the restaurant kitchen across the room. My mother's face went completely pale, her fork frozen midair as she looked between me and Catherine in total disbelief. My father pulled at his collar, his mouth slightly open, while my sister stared at me as if she were looking at a complete stranger. Across the table, Grandma Ruth slowly reached into her cardigan pocket, pulled out the faded, monogrammed cotton handkerchief I had kept for 10 years, and gave me a quiet, triumphant nod. My parents spent a decade trying to shrink my world to fit their narrative, only to realize that the daughter they gave up on had built something far bigger than their pride could ever cover.